No que diz respeito ao feminino, a gente sabe que ainda tem algumas questões que são consideradas tabu. Uma delas é a relação de codependência, a codependência entre mãe e filha e como isso impacta de forma geracional no feminino. A diretora Rebecca Lenkiewicz chega agora aos cinemas com o filme Hot Milk, sem medo de tocar justamente nessas questões. A gente bateu um ótimo papo com a diretora, então confere aí.
I have to start talking about the actress. It was a stunning performance from Emma and Fiona. So subtle, but at the same time, we can almost immediately relate to what is going on in the environment through her bodies.
We prepared a lot, me and Fiona Shaw, back in London. We talked a lot about the script, and also we had some incredible movement rehearsals with a wonderful movement director called Vanessa Ewan, who talked about trauma and in the body and how you hold it, because Fiona wanted to be authentic. It's a real condition. And she wanted to, on set, she would stay in the wheelchair all day, so people had to get her over obstacles and through corridors. And, she didn't leave the wheelchair. And I think that was very important to her, just so that she felt like she was trapped in this body, Meanwhile, Emma, I think she felt she had some sort of facial tics occasionally, just from the tension of her mother. And that's what she worked on. And the two actresses didn't meet before shooting. They met on set. One of their biggest scenes was on the second day of them meeting. The last shot in the car, that's all just the second day of their meeting. So they just have this incredible emotional vocabulary inside them that we talked about. And, I talked about it with Emma. But they're just incredible artists, they knew that they had to get this codependency, they had to get this tension, they had to get this love-hate, and not have it as a kind of melodrama or cliche. Rose is the sort of mother planet in the middle, who can thrash and crash, but is also incredibly fragile. So I think all of them worked on the complexity of the psyches of these women. Ingrid seems cool, but actually she's traumatized. Sophia seems quiet, but she's a lioness. So it's kind of looking at the contradictions.
The whole feminine in the movie. We have mother, daughter, doctor, secondary female figures also, and they all reflect, the limits between care and oppression and freedom and abandonment. So how do you measure this?
Well, like you say, there's incredible female energy going on. The nurse, she's caring for the mother, and that's an incredibly tender relationship, of generosity. People are giving each other and trusting each other, and on set as actors they were trusting each other, so there's a layer of female trust going on and nurture, but I think it was really, it's not exactly what do women want, it's what can women do, like how resilient are they, if a young woman has grown up without unconditional love, can she still love freely, And in Ingrid's case, she's grown up with trauma from hurting her sister, and can she break free from that? And I think that women have always fascinated me because they're so incredibly strong, and yet they get everything thrown at them, from childhood to adolescence to middle age and menopause to motherhood. It's kind of everything is a challenge, and yet, the Amazons still come through. So I think that's what attracted me to the project, was that these women are complicated, but they're also kind of iconic.
So many questions that is so personal to us. I think that the man has to participate with our questions also. So I think it's very beautiful that a movie like that, talks to an universal public. But how do you feel like the male public are going to receive the movie?
Yeah, it's not the most masculine film of all time. It's Mission Impossible versus Hot Milk. I think, if you want to see a more male film, you go, to the first. But I think there is absolutely masculine and feminine, but I also think that there is intersection, and I think that that's where it's interesting. And I do think that I love to watch masculine films and see what's happening there. I don't feel that's exclusive. I don't feel it's not my territory. I think, okay, what is this? When it's quite brutal or violent, I enjoy investigating that. So I think that these kind of segregation, it happens because we are very different creatures, but I also think that it's fluid. Hello, Brazil, and I hope that you come and see our film. It's a beautiful story of love and loss, mother and daughter, but also a lover. And it has a wonderful resonance for everyone in terms of how can we love, who can we love, and why do we love? Thank you.